AFTV, you know, that last interview caused a lot of controversy. First of all, do you agree with that? What you're saying about the injuries?
Not one bit. Look, Odegaard's just played 2 games in the international break. He comes back today, gets an injury from a tackle, which is going to happen when you're playing in centre midfield.
I forgot that. He played 2 games in the international.
Exactly. So I think you have to bring a little bit of common sense.
But it's Arteta's fault because of the injury today, because he overplayed it. Come on, it's crazy.
Yeah. I think anyone that watched that last one and saw my face in the background, yeah.
But what a performance today!
It's who we are, mate. It's who we are. It's who we are, mate. It's who we are. Look, people have been coming on here last few weeks and complaining about not being entertained, and you cannot watch what we saw today and say that they weren't entertained. We've got 2 wide players who both took on and beat men countless times. We were threatening it on both sides, which we don't often have. We often, you're over reliant on Saka on the right hand side, and maybe you'll get a moment from Trossard, maybe you'll get a moment from Martinelli. But today, every time the ball went to Eze or to Madueke, the crowd are on their feet thinking something's going to happen here. There's magic moments that you're starting to see, and then some of the combination play, some of the one-touch play, our ability to play on one side and build on one side, and then find Eze or find Madueke on the other side. Superb. I thought it was really, really, really good. When Odegaard goes down early, he could be conservative. He could bring Declan Rice on and just shore up the midfield a little bit, because you don't really know what you're going to get from Forest. But actually, he was brave. He brought on. He has said earlier in the season that Waneri is going to be the person that's going to try and deputise for Odegaard in those positions, and he trusted him. Today, he trusted him, and I think, for the most part, Waneri repaid his faith. I thought he really repaid his faith today. I thought he played really well. I thought he tried to move the ball really well. I thought he had a really good battle up against Anderson. I think he won that battle for the most part. I thought Mosquera was quality. There was one moment where he had a header. The ball come in, and he's it's one of them ones where if you misjudge it slightly, ends up in the back of your net, and people go, yeah, that's a dangerous ball. That's the sort of one that Jamie Carragher or Richard Dunn putting in the back of the net, and you're going, but he headed it away out to safety, and then we get the ball down and we start to play. So real quality, and he's obviously very, very, very composed on the ball, able to break lines, able to travel with the ball. Yep. The team obviously trust him. Arteta obviously trusts him. Like you said, we heard yesterday that Saliba was back in, so I suppose there was probably a lot of people thinking we might see him today. He might be on the bench. But when you've got the confidence in the squad that you're building, you don't need to do that. And one of the things that's always enabled Guardiola for me to kind of build a squad and also go on those crazy runs that they go on from February through to the end of the season is the ability to rotate players and keep them fresh earlier in the season. He does a lot of rotation. Then you get into the Christmas period, the games start to stack up. Hopefully you're in a Carabao quarter-final, semi-final, but you're able to kind of play stronger sides and kind of manage the minutes. And I think the drop-off that we're seeing now when players are out is not giving us the kind of palpitations that we've had in the past, when, no disrespect to him because he came in and tried to do his best, but you're not bringing on a Rob Holding. It's not a Rob Holding that's coming on Anfield after 10 minutes, and you're not, Chris Wood at the start of the game today tried to put himself up against Mosquera, see what he was about, because he knows what Gabriel's about. Didn't get any change out of him. It's not very often that you see a Chris Wood get hooked. Hudson-Odoi hooked. You don't often, those are kind of their dangerous. And they were still kind of in the game then, where you wouldn't necessarily a goal changes the game. But I think they could kind of see that the level, and that we probably also, I would say we probably also had a couple of gears that we could have gone up if we needed to. Had they gone and scored for whatever reason, I think we probably had a couple more gears in us. So that's positive.
You think this squad's good enough to win the league this season?
Yeah. But I do, and in fairness, I thought it in previous seasons, but you definitely have to say now, in terms of like the completeness of the squad, when you're sitting here like it was crazy last year, because at the end of last season I was saying to people, I think we need another right centre half, and I think we need another right back, and everyone's going, what do you mean we need another? And I'm going, how many times did we have to take Thomas Partey out of the middle of the park to go and ask him to go and play fullback, or he played centre half or whatever at the end of the season, and then you find a Mosquera, and Kivior comes in, does a job, but you don't want a Zubimendi or a Norgard going out and playing at playing at fullback. You want them doing what they're asked to do. So we're now starting to build the squad where we've got a number of different profiles. You can play with White and Lewis Skelly, you can play with Timber and Calafiori. If Mosquera drops in for Saliba, there's still a drop off obviously, but not the same sort of drop off that we've had in previous seasons. And like I said, even today, you could probably bring Declan Rice on, and there's an element of confidence that comes with that. But actually, you're confident that the young lads can come in and do a job. And I thought Gyökeres was positive today. These are the sorts of games where we've brought him to score the goals. Yes, we obviously want him to do well in the big sides, but up until that Liverpool game, we hadn't lost against one of the big six sides for a couple of seasons, and they weren't necessarily our handicap. It was Crystal Palace, it was Fulham, it was West Ham. It was these sorts of sides where we would be banging on the door. We would have an attack, they would go up the other end, they would score, and then you're either a 1-1 or you're 1-0 down, now trying to chase the game. And the best response to a low block sometimes is a goal, and if you're going to get a goal that breaks that breaks the deadlock, Zubimendi is the sort of goal that you want to see breaking deadlocks.
How good is this kid Zubimendi? Because I don't know about everybody else, he's been impressing me right since pre-season.
Yeah, look. I think he's exceptional. I think his ability to organise off the ball is it's very, very, very high class. You watch him for Spain, he probably plays a little bit more further forward. He's got a through ball in his locker as well that you see when you watch him playing for Spain. That maybe the role that we're asking him to play here, you might even say handicaps him a little bit. So we're probably not even seeing the best of him. But what we are seeing is someone that's come in and just absolutely glued our midfield together. And you'd think he'd been playing in the Premier League for seasons, and we talk about Rodri. Rodri came in and did the same thing, and you see the drop off when Rodri left the Man City side, or he got injured last season and missed big parts. And the challenge that Arteta's going to have is keeping everyone happy, and that's a good challenge to have as a manager. That's a challenge you want to have, and making sure that we can manage the freshness so that when we get into the crux of the season, the home straight, we're still competing for trophies, and we're still able to keep our best players fresh. You look at the squad that we took to the Burnabout at the end of the season, and yes, we got through it, but you've got Nathan Oyedei on the bench, you've got Jack Henry-Francis on the bench. We're not going to be. We get into the quarterfinals, semi-finals of the Champions League this season. Those are not the sort of players that we're expecting and going to see on the bench. It's going to be people like your Eze, people like your Martinellis, people that can come on and can change the game and can impact games. And I think we're really building a squad now that's going to enable us to do that.